Did you know that with just a few smart changes, you could save hundreds of dollars every single month without feeling like you were sacrificing anything? I used to struggle to make ends meet, but once I applied these simple budgeting tips, I started saving over $500 every month. In this video, I'm sharing the exact strategies that helped me take control of my money and finally build a savings cushion. Before we jump in, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss more practical money tips that actually work. Let's get into it. For the longest time, I considered myself someone who was decent with money. I paid my bills on time, didn't splurge too much, and avoided credit card debt. But somehow, at the end of each month, my bank account barely had anything left. It felt like money just slipped through my fingers. I knew I needed to do something different, so I began a journey to transform the way I managed money. And these 5 budgeting strategies ended up saving me over $500 every single month. Here's how I did it. 5. I started using the cash envelope method to control impulsive spending. In the beginning, one of my biggest weaknesses was spending small amounts throughout the day on coffee, snacks, or spontaneous purchases that didn't feel like much in the moment. But over time, they added up significantly. I realized that if I was going to break this cycle, I needed a strategy that would hold me accountable in real time. That's when I came across the cash envelope system. This method is surprisingly simple. At the start of each month, I would determine my spending limits for key categories, like dining out, entertainment, or gas, and then withdraw that amount of cash and place it into labeled envelopes. If I gave myself $100 for eating out, then that envelope held exactly $100, and once it was gone, that was it for the month. No more swiping the card and hoping it would all somehow balance out. The psychological impact of watching the cash dwindle gave me real-time feedback that no app or bank statement ever could. In the first month alone, this change cut my casual spending by over $80, and I began feeling in control of my money for the first time. 4. I audited all my subscriptions and canceled the ones that didn't bring value. Like many people, I had fallen into the trap of subscription overload. It started innocently, a streaming service here, a cloud storage plan there. But before I knew it, I had monthly charges for services I barely used. Some I had completely forgotten about. I decided it was time for a subscription detox. I spent a weekend going through every bank and credit card statement, highlighting anything that was recurring. Some charges were small, $4.99, $9.99, but they were quietly draining my account month after month. I found subscriptions for a meditation app I hadn't opened in 6 months, multiple streaming platforms I didn't need, and even a workout app I signed up for during the New Year's resolution, high and abandoned weeks later. Canceling those services felt liberating. I wasn't depriving myself. I was eliminating digital clutter and taking back control, and the results were immediate. I saved more than $100 a month by cutting out those unnecessary charges. That extra money was redirected into my savings, and I realized how easy it had been to let my money leak away through convenience and neglect. 3. I embraced meal prepping and drastically reduced my food expenses. Food was another massive leak in my budget. I love eating out. There's something so easy and comforting about ordering dinner after a long day or grabbing lunch with coworkers instead of packing something from home. But when I started tracking my expenses, I was shocked. Between restaurant meals, takeout, and those sneaky little coffee runs, I was spending upwards of $300 a month, sometimes more. I knew I had to change, but I didn't want to sacrifice the joy of eating well. So I began learning how to meal prep. Every Sunday, I'd plan my meals for the week, cook in bulk, and pack everything into containers. I'd make flavorful lunches and quick dinners that I actually look forward to eating. I even got creative with snacks and beverages to avoid the temptation of convenience store stops. The savings were immediate and dramatic. Not only did I reduce my monthly food expenses by more than $200, but I also started eating healthier. My energy levels improved, my fridge was always stocked, and I no longer relied on drive-through windows or overpriced salads. Meal prepping became a cornerstone of my new budgeting lifestyle, and it continues to save me money and time every single week. 2. I automated my savings and tweaked the 50 by 30 by 20 rule to fit my lifestyle. Before my budgeting journey began, saving money felt like something I should do, but it always came last. After the bills, the spending, and the unexpected expenses, there was rarely anything left to save. That's when I realized I had to flip the process. I decided to save first and spend what was left. I started with the 50 by 30 by 20 rule, 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings. But I adjusted it to be more aggressive. Since I had already cut my expenses with cash envelopes, subscription audits, and meal prepping, I realized I could actually aim for 30% savings without feeling deprived. The key was automation. On payday, a portion of my income was immediately routed to a high-yield savings account. Another chunk went into a separate investment account. I even opened a fun savings account for travel or future splurges. Because the money was moved before I had a chance to touch it, I didn't miss it. It was never part of my available balance, so I didn't spend it. This automation added an extra $120 to $150 in monthly savings without requiring willpower or effort. It was like giving myself a raise, simply by changing the order in which I used my money. And seeing those savings grow month after month was deeply motivating. 1. I started tracking every dollar with zero-based budgeting. If I had to name the single most transformative step I took, it would be zero-based budgeting. It's not glamorous or trendy, but it works. Every single month, I would sit down and assign a job to every dollar I earned. Nothing was left unassigned. If I brought in $3,000, every cent was given a purpose, whether it was rent, groceries, debt payments, savings, or a birthday gift. This forced me to be deliberate with my spending. I could no longer guess whether I had enough for a night out or a new gadget. I already knew, because the budget told me. I began tracking each expense in a spreadsheet, and reviewing it weekly became a routine. It kept me grounded, and more importantly, it gave me clarity. I knew exactly where my money was going, and I could see the impact of each decision I made. Zero-based budgeting gave me freedom, not restriction. It allowed me to spend guilt-free in the areas I cared about, because I had already accounted for them. I stopped feeling stressed at the end of the month, because there were no surprises. And this method alone helped me eliminate wasteful spending and recover an extra $150 every month. The discipline and insight I gained through this practice made it the most important tool in my budgeting arsenal. It was the foundation that supported every other strategy and helped me build a sustainable financial routine. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, subscribe to our channel before you go. Thanks for watching.